When a decorated K9 unit disobeyed a direct command from his handler, everyone froze. Police dogs are trained never to break the chain of command, but this one did. And what he did next stunned the entire department. Because when he bolted into a house no one had cleared, he didn't find danger. He found a child nobody even knew was missing. Have you ever witnessed a moment where someone, human or animal, defied authority for something greater? Share your story in the comments and tell us where you're watching from, city, state, or country. This one's unforgettable. Officer Bill Harlow was known throughout Elmdale as the last of the straight arrows. 32 years on the force, half of that spent training younger officers, who respected him not for his bark, but for his unwavering calm. But Bill wasn't alone on the job anymore. His partner was a 95-pound German Shepherd named Kane, whose presence alone could end a standoff. Kane was no ordinary dog. He had graduated top of his K9 class, trained by former military handlers, and had logged more than 100 successful call-outs. Kane never barked without purpose. He never lunged without reason. And most importantly, he never disobeyed an order, not once, until one rainy Thursday in early April. The 911 call had been vague. A neighbor said he heard strange noises, glass, maybe a thump, from the old Lancaster house. Everyone in Elmdale knew the place, abandoned for a year after the owner passed. For months, kids had joked it was haunted, but the police never found anything when they checked. Probably squatters, Bill muttered, pulling up in his cruiser. Rain slicked the windshield. The sky was the color of lead. Kane sat in the passenger seat, eyes alert, ears high. As Bill stepped out, Kane whined softly. That was unusual. 3 other patrol cars pulled up. Standard procedure. 1 unit to sweep the perimeter, 1 to stand by for back entry, and 1 to hold until a warrant could be obtained if needed. Kane remained leashed. Let's keep it clean, Bill said. Perimeter check first. That's when it happened. Kane's posture shifted. His nose flared. He turned sharply toward the left side of the house. His muscles bunched. Easy, buddy, Bill said, tugging the leash. But Kane let out a sharp, urgent bark, a sound Bill had never heard from him before. And then, in one motion, Kane yanked hard and broke free. He sprinted toward the back of the house, leaping a collapsed portion of fence like it was nothing. Kane! Bill shouted. Stand down! But the dog didn't even pause. Officers reached for their radios. Bill's gut clenched. Kane had never done that before. Never. Bill chased after him, heart pounding. He found Kane at the back door of the house, scratching, whining, then backing up and barking, desperate. Something had him panicked, not afraid, alert, urgent. Bill pressed his ear to the door, and then he heard it too, a soft whimper. Human, faint, muffled. It sounded like a child. Bill didn't hesitate. He radioed in. We have possible child in distress inside the property, breaching back door. He kicked the door once, then twice, and it splintered open. Kane shot inside. Clear left, Bill ordered, as 2 officers followed him into the hallway. The interior was dark, dusty, and filled with the stale scent of mold. Kane, slow, Bill called, but the dog was already ahead, bounding up the staircase 2 at a time. The upstairs hallway sagged under their boots. Faint light trickled through dirty windows. Kane was at the end of the hall, barking frantically at a narrow door. Bill approached and stopped short. The door had a padlock on the outside. Why would a door be locked from the outside? Kane, sit, he said softly. Kane sat, but didn't take his eyes off the door. Bill smashed the lock with the butt of his flashlight. He pulled open the door. The room was pitch black. And then he saw her, curled in the corner on a bare mattress, clutching a threadbare stuffed bear. A little girl. Her hair was matted, her dress torn. She was trembling, eyes wide with terror. Kane stepped forward slowly. The girl flinched, then paused. Her eyes met Kane's, and then she reached out. Kane licked her hand gently. It's okay, Bill whispered, kneeling beside her. You're safe now. The girl couldn't speak. Her lips were cracked from dehydration, but she held onto Kane like a lifeline. Paramedics were called in. She was wrapped in blankets, carried out gently in Bill's arms. At the hospital, She whispered her name, Ellie Carter. She'd been missing for 3 days, and no one knew she was in that house. Detectives swarmed the Lancaster property. There were signs of forced entry at the basement. Footprints, trash, evidence of someone squatting. But whoever had taken Ellie was long gone. Police theorized it was someone passing through, an ex-tenant or vagrant, a monster with enough cunning to keep her hidden for 3 full days. But how Kane knew, that remained the mystery. The girl never screamed. There were no visible signs to indicate life inside, except to Kane. The next day, the story hit local headlines. Police dog saves missing girl in abandoned house. Bill was asked to speak on the news. He kept it short. "I didn't save her," he said, stroking Kane's head. He did. Donations poured into the K9 program. Kane was given a special commendation, a golden badge, and a stake the size of a hubcap. But none of that mattered to Bill, because that night, after all the praise, all the press, Bill sat on the porch with Kane beside him, staring into the sunset. "You knew," he whispered, before any of us did. Kane simply placed his head on Bill's knee. Ellie remained in the hospital for several days. She didn't speak much. Traumatized, the doctor said. But Kane was allowed to visit. The moment he entered her room, her face lit up. She wrapped her arms around him, burying her face in his fur. Slowly, day by day, Ellie began to smile. She told one nurse, "The angel dog found me." It became her nickname for Kane. And when Ellie's estranged father flew in from out of state to take custody, he asked Bill a question. Could Kane visit her now and then? Bill didn't hesitate, as long as she wants. 1 month later, the town held a ceremony in the park. The mayor read a proclamation. The chief handed out medals. Ellie, wearing a fresh blue dress, stood beside Kane and grinned ear to ear. When asked if she remembered anything from those 3 days in the house, she nodded. "I was scared," she said softly. "And I prayed. I prayed that someone would hear me. Then I heard the barks. He barked like he knew me." Bill would never understand exactly how Kane knew. Some said it was scent. Maybe Ellie's fear triggered something deep in Kane's instincts. Others claimed it was a fluke, coincidence. But Bill didn't believe in coincidence anymore. Kane saw what we couldn't. He often said he felt what we missed. That's not just instinct, that's heart. And after that day, Kane was no longer just a dog to Elmdale. He was a symbol of loyalty over protocol, of courage over caution, and of one moment, a single decision to disobey that changed a child's life forever. Years passed. Ellie grew. She visited often. Sometimes she'd bring drawings for Kane, or sit and read stories to him on the porch. She once told Bill, "When I grow up, I want to be the kind of person Kane would run toward." Bill smiled at that. Kane aged, as all dogs do. The gray around his muzzle deepened, his joints stiffened, but he never lost that alert gaze, that unspoken bond with Bill. And every evening, when the porch light came on, Kane would sit watching the horizon, waiting, listening, because even after everything, he was still a guardian, still ready to run if ever another child needed him. If Kane's story moved you, even half as much as it did us, share it with someone who believes in second chances, in doing what's right, even when it goes against the rules. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments and tell us, do you believe dogs like Kane are born or made?